Hey all, Agent of Mischief here. Today we're going to jump back into Henchman Story where we last left off in issue number 4. Let's jump on in, shall we? It's not until I've rounded the first corner that I finally let myself sigh in relief. Thank God that's over. I feel like I just went through an emotional spin cycle. Still, I didn't do so bad considering I was being interviewed by a possibly psychotic tyrant / tech mogul. Is that what dealing with a bona fide, genuine article supervillain is like? Do you spend every second wondering if you're going to be eviscerated? I take my time heading to my post for the day, and it's only when I get halfway there that I realize the craziest thing about that woman. Despite my fears of being dismembered, weirdly enough, it seemed like we were speaking candidly towards the end there. I feel like that should mean something. I'm just not sure what. My first shift passes by quickly. Today my squad is working in the warehouse, which is like the opposite of guard duty. I'm less likely to be bored out of my mind, but my body can't stand putting in actual effort. Luckily, I don't think Dave knows how to read our inventory system, so I just need to look like I'm working hard. The key is to let him see me lift a few things early, then stay out of sight as much as possible. All that time and energy I put into avoiding work has given me quite the appetite, and by the time we head to the cafeteria, I'm absolutely starved.
Shit.
Yeah, what's wrong, buddy?
I forgot that Chef Antonio and I are at war. Metaphorically, I mean. Don't worry, it's not actual war.
Oh, good. I was about to say.
I know you were, Dave. Anyway, I think I'm just going to skip the line and get a table.
So, would that be a metaphorical retreat?
I prefer to think of it as guerrilla tactics. If he asks where I am, tell him I'm in medical.
Doing my best to avoid the all-seeing eye of Chef Antonio, I find an empty table and have a seat. I drum my fingers on the table and try to think of anything with the food everyone else is eating. Sadly, my stomach has other plans and it lets out a loud growl.
You filthy traitor.
That'll learn it. Show that organ who's boss.
I look up to see Kate take a seat across from me, tray in hand.
Damn right. You've got to keep them in line. Sometimes instead of doing cardio, I just berate my heart for an hour.
What do you mean, sometimes? Wouldn't that imply that you do cardio in the first place?
Burn.
For your information, routinely fleeing colorfully attired walls of muscle is a wonderful fitness routine. It's like Pilates for masochists.
I feel like you don't know what Pilates are.
All I know is that they usually involve a gym and yoga pants, and I can't see myself inside either of those things.
Listen, maybe not yoga pants, but stretch pants? So comfortable.
Technically, you're not wrong, and yet you're definitely not right.
Kate eyes the empty space in front of me.
Still haven't made peace with the chef, huh?
Nope, this is grade A eternal nemesis level conflict. We're destined to battle until the end of time.
Guess I'll just starve to death.
Yeah, well, I don't think that treacherous stomach of yours can last that long. Seriously, just have some of my...
Well, gosh, Stan, you didn't tell me you made a new friend.
God. Before Kate has had time to react, Dave has set his tray down on the table and extended a hand in greeting.
It's a real pleasure to meet you, miss. I'm Dave, squad supervisor.
Good to meet you.
Kate extends her hand and receives a firm shake in return. Once Dave lets go, she points to the name tag that's still on your uniform.
I'm Kate.
She's the rookie I guided around yesterday. Just happens that we have the same lunch block, so... Wait, are you still wearing that name tag?
Yeah. Is that a problem?
No, it's just that I don't think you have to anymore. That was a one-day thing.
I guess not, but I'm still new, so it's easier for people to learn my name this way.
Maybe so.
Yeah, she's just being considerate, Stan. Gosh, you millennials have no manners.
Dave, you look like you're a millennial, too.
Dude, you're a millennial, and I'm pretty sure I'm older than you. Oh god, I'm older than you.
It's this social media. That's what my papa says. Everyone has to clap back or back clap or post little emojis of clapping.
Sure, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna clap, do it to my face, you cowards. Am I right?
How dare you encourage this?
Encourage what? A blossoming friendship?
More like an unholy alliance. I think I was safer with Scorpion.
You met Madam Scorpion? When?
This morning, Stan had his big review. I made sure he was up extra early to prepare, though, so I'm sure he aced it. Right, buddy?
Let's not get carried away. I survived.
Well, don't sell yourself short, because that's not always the case. Believe me. So, now that you've seen her face to face. What do you think?
She's hot and scary. I'm in.
In a word, impressive. I guess that's what you'd expect when you're alone in a room with a bona fide top-tier supervillain.
You've never been in a room alone with Lord Bedlam?
Nope. No. Guess not. He's impressive too, of course. Supremely impressive. But Madam Scorpion just has this presence, you know?
Yeah, presents. I'm sure that's what you're talking about.
What do you think I'm talking about? Her boobs?
I am, really. Sure, she has other things too. Like great fashion sense, you know.
She wears a catsuit, and not correctly, I may add.
Well, it's probably a designer catsuit, Italian or something. And for all you know, that zipper could be broken, okay?
Pretty shoddy craftsmanship for a designer catsuit, then, wouldn't you say?
I don't make the laws of fashion, Kate. I'm just a student of them. Seriously, though, I mean it. She's the kind of person that becomes the center of attention the moment she walks into a room.
Even rooms she's not in, apparently.
Hey, you asked.
I did, yeah. And you're right. She's very commanding.
Kate's lips tighten into a grimace, and she seems to lose herself in her own thoughts for a moment. It's a little curious. I know Madame Scorpion's not technically her boss because of how the whole Henchman app works, but she wasn't too enthusiastic for my enthusiasm she wasn't too enthusiastic about my enthusiasm for the supervillain's demeanor.
Look, just be careful around her. I'm serious about what I said. Not everyone that walks into a room with Madame Scorpion walks back out.
Why do you say that?
Because it's the truth. At least I think. Look, this is just a rumor, but the word is that before she founded the Scorpion Group, she was basically the apex predator of the assassin world. That's how she got the money for it.
You're only encouraging me to like her more. She sounds so cool. Scary, but so cool.
She doesn't do it anymore, I don't think. I mean, that's the rumor, but you know what they say about old habits.
You can't teach them new tricks.
Sure, but mostly they just die hard. And for Scorpion, people die a lot more easily.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. My old habits die hard too. And sometimes I think I'm back on the farm. Today in the warehouse, I called the crates hay bales by accident, and this other time I thought someone's pet parakeet was a chicken.
So what, you tried to take its eggs or something?
No, my sister collected the eggs. My job was to butcher the ones we ate.
Oh my god.
That sounds pleasant. Hey, wait a second.
Oh my god, you didn't!
Well, it looks like we finally solved the mystery of what happened to Lord Birdlam.
It was an accident! It was just old habits, like you said!
R.I.P. Lord Birdlam.
I
Can we
think
get an
that
F in
crosses
chat?
the line from habit to disorder. Although, now that I think about it, that's a pretty good example for this situation. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome, Kate. Just a little squad supervisor nugget of wisdom for you. I've got loads of them.
I bet you do. So, basically, Stan, be careful around Madame Scorpion, or you could end up like Lord Birdlam.
Delicious?
Dead, Stan. Very dead. But luckily, the most dangerous thing that you'll
Parakeets
encounter
and
tonight
chickens
are
look
some bad
nothing
dice rolls,
alike.
right?
I'm just telling you, someone who has had both parakeets and chickens. They are only alike in that they're birds.
True, though they'll be more dangerous for everyone else since... Wait, does this mean you're playing?
May, if your party has room for a paladin. You said they needed a tank, right?
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
perfect.
I love playing as a paladin.
Just a
I don't know
normal
why.
paladin,
I'm
though?
like...
Anytime someone plays a paladin around here, they're usually a dark paladin instead.
I
'Cause,
am like...
you know.
very lightly pagan. And that's about it. I love playing as a paladin. I enjoy their stats. I enjoy being big and beefy, and I enjoy the spells. And so usually, a lot of the time, I play a paladin or a wizard. I like to step outside of my comfort zone, and lately I've been trying to make all sorts of different class character species combos. So we've gotten some very interesting stuff over like the last 3 years.
Oh, right. I
I
mean,
could talk
of course,
about
the
my
dark paladin.
characters
I just figured
forever
that was
though,
obvious.
because I
Isn't
have
that
like
obvious?
I've had like 13 in the past 3 years. but if I do that, I will literally not shut up. So I will try to. I will try not to, but I love all my characters. They are my babies.
Paladins? Dice rolls? What are you guys talking about? Wait. Oh, are you guys playing Spells and Swords tonight? Oh gosh, that sounds fun. Can I join?
I tried to hide my wince. Oh crap, I should have been more careful. I knew if he heard about that, he'd invite himself.
I don't see why not. There's not a limit on players. As long as it's okay with Stan, of course.
It's not okay with Stan. Stan is very cranky about this. I glanced at Kate, looking for the teasing glint that I know I'll find in her eyes, but there's something encouraging as if she's trying to nudge me into saying yes. She's right, of course. Technically, I could say no, but technically Dave is sort of my boss. So as much as it might disrupt things, my only choice is to accept.
Sure, Dave. You can join the party. What class are you going to be?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Is there a class that's kind of like a squad supervisor? That would work great!
How about a cleric? They're sort of like a supervisor.
So they make sure everyone is on time and focusing on their work?
More like on time to not die. And focusing on battle.
No, I mean they help support everyone and keep them feeling good. Supervisors aren't supposed to do that?
Oh, Stan, it's okay. Being a squad supervisor is a complicated job. Not just anyone can understand how it works. But I don't really have a better idea, so I guess that'll work.
I shrug and sigh in resignation. Well, if he's going to invite himself into the party, he may as well be as a healer. Kate and Dave continued to discuss plans for tonight's session, but I tuned out. I'd forgotten something important. Oh shit! The gig! I got so into all that talk about spells and swords, I forgot all about it.
So, not to change topics or to kill anyone's enthusiasm, but I may have gotten ahead of myself about tonight's session.
What's wrong? Is a dark paladin not villainous enough? Do I need to be a demon paladin or something?
No, there's definitely enough villainy. It's just that something else happened in that review. The thing is, Madam Scorpion asked me to sign up for a henchman gig. Tonight.
Wow, that's great, Stan! As your squad supervisor, I'm proud of the recognition you're getting for your hard work, and the recognition your squad and squad leadership will also get for helping you work so hard.
Sure. Thanks, man.
Just the way she reacts to things, I'm thinking either she's secretly a superhero or she's secretly like... I don't think superheroes necessarily have henchmen, but like a sidekick. I don't think she joined Henchcan because she believes in the power of villainy. I'm just telling you, I'm calling it now. Superhero or superhero sidekick. I looked at Kate, not sure what reaction I should be expecting. Disappointment, maybe? The reality is more along the lines of pensive silence and a hint of concern.
Did she say what the job was?
No. There's a few more details in the app. Here.
I pull out my phone, open the Henchcan app, and hand it to her. She won't find much more information there, just a general description of the job, the pay, the time, and various ratings for different parts of the job. Things like the general difficulty level, expectations regarding the use of lethal force, civilian presence, and the possibility of superhero intervention are all given different ratings out of 5 stars. No location is given. Meeting coordinates are sent through a separate encrypted message shortly before the job if you decide to accept. More information would be nice, but I can't say I expected much more. Kate frowns as she scrolls through the data and hands me back my phone.
Seems like a good payday. Could be risky, though. This is an entry level from the looks of it.
I have 5 years of henching experience. God damn it, I think we're good.
That's the idea, I think. It's meant to be some kind of test.
That's a tough call. On the one hand, this is Madam Scorpion, and she's not used to being refused. On the other hand, if it's meant to be a test, then it will definitely be dangerous. Plus, you'd totally be missing out on our awesome Spells and Swords adventure. So, if I were you, I'd take some time to think about it. I won't blame you either way, but if you had to decide right now, which one would you pick?
Game night sounds extremely fun, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to pass.
Well, I do love money. So right now, I guess I'm leaning towards the side gig.
Really? I didn't realize things were that tight for you. The henchcan rates seem pretty good for this assignment, so I get it, but I won't lie, I'd be a little disappointed if this super exclusive SNS meetup of yours is canceled after all the hype. I was kind of hoping we could hang out. But it's no big deal, really. You do what you've got to do.
Hey, I'm not blowing you off. Promise. And this is just what I'm thinking right now. Maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows?
I'm not changing my
whatever call
mind.
you make, don't sweat it. Honest.
Thanks, rookie. Whatever I end up deciding, you guys will be the first to know.
And how are you going to let me know exactly? Carrier pigeon? Or do you guys send messenger rats through the walls or under?
I want a messenger rat. That sounds epic.
Oh, right. We never exchanged numbers, did we? 1 second.
After fumbling with a few pouches, I remember which one holds my phone, and we exchanged contact information. Dave insists on doing so as well, which doesn't seem entirely appropriate, but that's Dave. That might be a good biography title for him, not entirely appropriate. Maybe the whole Lord Bedlam operation as a whole. Gotta hang on to that one.
There we go. That'll be easier. Though, I admit, I was sort of looking forward to some kind of trained animal messenger.
Weren't we all?
Honestly, they might be more reliable. The reception in a secret mountain base isn't great. Big shock, I know.
The rest of lunch is filled with small talk, nothing groundbreaking, but it's oddly relaxing. Gates better at redirecting Dave's enthusiasm. He only mentions that he's squad supervisor like 3 or 4 more times. With Kate around, the dynamic of our spells and sword sessions seems like it has potential, even with Dave's unexpected last-minute addition. That is, if I decide to go to it. I'll see where my head is at in a few hours. Regardless of my current feelings, Kate's right. This is a decision that I need to think about very carefully. As the day drags into the late afternoon, I return to my room to change into a spare uniform and freshen up. Neither game night nor the side gig feel like the right venue for that sweaty warehouse day aroma. Maybe I should invest in some cologne. Between the sweat and getting thrown in a dumpster, I've had a lot of smells to cover up lately. As I finish buckling up my uniform, I grab my phone from where I left it on my bed. Frowning, I open the Henchman app, navigate to the gig I don't know why I almost called her Professor Scorpion. To the gig Madam Scorpion had mentioned and stare. This is it. I've given myself all day to think. What should I do? Unwind with some spells and swords at game night, or take this Henchman gig and go earn some extra money. I'm sorry, game night. I tap the button labeled accept on the app. I could use the extra money, and turning down Madame Scorpion's direct offer feels like it could end very badly. And that's doubly true since I accepted it to her face earlier. If I just refused, maybe she'd give me a little credit for having some spine, but I doubt I'd get that kind of slack right now. On the flip side, she did seem oddly pleased about it. Can't hurt to be in her good graces. Then again, Scorpion aside, the side gig doesn't look that great for my health either. If any of those waivers I keep scrolling through are any indication. Jesus, why are there so many of them? I get it. If I'm injured, get sick, or died, I can't sue the Scorpion group. No need for a whole paragraph on defenestration alone. After a few moments of waiving rights that I didn't even know I had, a map finally appears, pointing me towards my nearest pickup location. Looks like it's outside the base, in the middle of the forest. It's appropriate, I guess, but this whole crowdsourced Black Ops shit is a weird vibe. They may not even let me use my phone once we leave, so I better text everyone beforehand. Dave will be disappointed. He may have just found out about it, but anything that could be tied back to the team building or squad unity can become as sacred as Lord Bedlam's philosophy to him, such as it is. Well, I'll have to get over it. I've got my own priorities, and he'll only have a say on what I do during work hours. Outside of that, it's my business. Kate's another matter entirely. After texting Dave, I type out a message to her, but hesitate before sending it. She seems genuinely excited to be part of the game, and part of me feels like I'm letting her down. But she has to understand, right? She's on the app herself. It wouldn't be fair of her to knock it. I'll just have to make it up to her. I shake off the guilt, press send, and pocket my phone. No going back, and that meeting point's a ways off. Better get moving. Hell yeah. Issue 5. Let's get started. I don't know if we're going to finish the entirety of issue number 5, but we will try. As I walk through the halls, going against the grain of the usual game night traffic. A short while later, I step out into the hallway, bag in tow. While the halls aren't jam-packed, there are definitely more people than usual, all heading off to take part in one game or another. The main hall will have the most people, playing on cheap card tables surrounded by a sea of plastic folding chairs. It's where we hold any tournaments or contests, and it's also where Lord Bedlam's usually found. I already hear a cheer from the direction, as if to remind me of all the fun I won't be having tonight, but that's okay. If you make enough money, you can just buy fun whenever you want, right? The further I walk, the fewer people I see. There's little in this direction besides the main entrance, so all I expect to find are a few unlucky souls that drew guard duty tonight, like that woman up ahead. Already slacking off by the looks of it, just leaning against the wall like she's waiting for someone. Wait.
Kate? What are you doing here?
What's it look like? Waiting for you. I saw you took that gig, and what do you know? My schedule's suddenly free.
Yeah. Sorry about that, honestly.
I told you not to sweat it. Besides, you were upfront about it. Can't ask for more than that.
I can still feel that, though.
If that's your prerogative. But really, it's no big deal. You still rank below the kid that ditched me at my freshman semi-formal on the list of guys who've left me hanging.
What did you do to him?
Let's just say that was when I took apart my first engine. Now, come on. We can't be late for dust-off.
Kate starts walking down the hall, and I'm quick to follow. After I've caught up, I match her pace and shoot her a quizzical glance.
How'd you beat me here anyway? It's a long walk from the living quarters.
I was in the area.
Doing what?
Alright, I was lost, okay? I've been looking for the game room for a half hour when you texted, so I figured I may as well stay put.
Alright.
She didn't look like someone who had been lost, but I don't press any further.
So, find out any more details about this gig?
Not really, but I expect the Queen Bee herself to be part of it. Just smells like one of hers.
You mean Scorpion? Does she tag along on a lot of these things?
No, just occasionally, but there's a pattern to it. It's usually... well, it's hard to explain. Just a hunch, I guess.
I scratch my chin as I ponder her explanation, or rather, the lack thereof. Lack thereof. I can't speak today. I apologize. Just a hunch, huh? However, before I can ask what she meant by that, I find myself interrupted.
Hold it right there, you two. Let's see some ID. Chop chop.
I stop and look up to find a familiar scowl peering at me from behind the window of a security checkpoint. James, the gate supervisor. Must have been lost in thought. Looks like we reached the main entrance already.
Oh, hey, James. We were just headed out for a bit. Mind opening the gate for us?
Oh, just like that, huh? I'm just supposed to open the gate for you and you waltz on through?
Yes. Also, I like James's little bunny pen. It's very nice.
Is that not how gates work? Should we do a different kind of dance when we go through or something?
What type of dance isn't the point? Nerve of the rookies these days. This gate is under my jurisdiction. I determine who gets in and who gets out. You could say I control the lifeline for the whole fortress.
You could say that. Except you're not actually allowed to stop anyone who works for Lord Bedlam from coming or going, remember? We've been over this, dude. Complaints were filed, HR got involved. Just open the gate, man. Don't make a whole thing out of it.
Grumbling the entire way, James trudges over to the gate controls and pulls the lever, letting the gates open with a groan.
All right, you're clear to proceed. But mark my words, Stan. One day, you'll need to get through and I'll be allowed to stop you. One day, it will be the gate supervisor's time to shine. One day!
Sure.
That day's never going to come, is it?
Oh, absolutely not.
With our path clear, we make our way through the open gate into the natural caverns beyond. The words "one day" echoing off the walls, even as the gate closes in our wake. After another hike through a series of tunnels, we finally emerge into the wilderness, where we're greeted with the painfully bright light of the late afternoon sun. Glad we got off of work early today. I hate coming out here at night. The return trip is gonna suck. I can feel the poison ivy in my uniform already.
This way. I know the spot they're using.
So long before we reach our destination, a small clearing with a large mossy stump in the middle, and a small babbling brook just before the far tree line. No one else appears to be here, so I saunter up to the stump and take a seat. I check my phone, a full minute ahead of schedule, nothing to worry about, so why does Kate look so tense?
Don't worry, James won't lock us out. He talks a big game, but that's all it is.
No, it's not that.
I frown, confused. It's not dark yet. No one ever comes in these woods except Bedlam's henchmen, so I'm not sure why she'd be nervous. The most dangerous thing you'd find out here is a skunk, or maybe a...
Cutting it a little close, aren't we?
I jump around and whirl at the source of the noise, just in time to see Madame Scorpion step out from the shadows like a lioness emerging from the undergrowth. When she steps forward, she barely makes a sound, and her footing is never in doubt despite the uneven ground. Somewhere in the depths of my primal lizard brain, my fight-or-flight reflex is triggered, and I hear a voice scream at me to run. Instead, I cough to clear out the lump in my throat and offer a sloppy salute.
Close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and orbital doomsday lasers, ma'am. I wouldn't know for sure since we never had either of those last two, but it seems like a safe bet.
You're not missing out. Orbital weaponry is overrated, easily identified and easily dismantled. Just ask Dr. Calamity.
Scorpion chuckles to herself and shakes her head at a joke that we're not privy to before her eyes flash to Kate.
I'm surprised to see that you've brought company, Stanley. I don't recall my invitation including a +1.
Kate offers a crisp salute without a flinch.
Ma'am, sorry if I'm intruding. I just saw the gig on the app and...
I am speaking to Stanley. If I require your input, I will request it.
Her eyes linger on Kate's still present name tag.
Kate? Is that understood?
This time Kate stays silent, merely nodding in understanding. Scorpion appraises her for a moment more before turning her gaze to me. Hastily, I rise from my seat and offer a decidedly less crisp salute.
Now, Stanley, explain yourself. Why is she here with you?
Honestly, she just followed me here.
You didn't have to say it like that.
What? You did follow me here. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just answering the question.
My, Stanley. I didn't know that you could be so ruthless. Throwing your friend to the wolves at the slightest hint of danger. You do have potential. Though, a dash of subtlety would go a long way. The best betrayal should go completely unnoticed until the last possible moment. That look of heart-rending dismay is all the sweeter when it comes just before the sword falls.
Maybe so.
Duly noted, ma'am. But it wasn't a betrayal, I was just telling you what happened. Really.
I look pleadingly at Kate, who grimaces but eventually offers a resigned shrug.
The job was available on the app, wasn't it? So anyone could have signed up if they wanted to.
Under normal circumstances, yes. But this job was supposed to have been marked as exclusive. Only certain users should have been able to see it. So, Kate, are you certain that you signed up for this job in particular?
Yes, ma'am. Here, I'll pull it up.
Kate unlocks her phone and holds it up for Scorpion, who takes it without hesitation. After examining the screen, the supervillain frowns and hands the phone back to Kate.
Odd. Either it's a bug, or someone on our live team needs to remember just who they're working for. You shouldn't have been able to see that. You're one of ours, correct? How long have you been with the program?
A few months, ma'am. This is my 3rd gig, first long term. Sorry about the mistake. I didn't even know that the app had exclusive jobs.
Me either. And that's why you're doing this whole closed beta thing, though, isn't it? To test all the features?
That is one of the goals, yes. Well, assuming you don't botch the job and get yourself captured, I expect you to file a bug report before morning. Understood.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Scorpion looks like she's about to inquire further, but before she can, we're interrupted by the sound of helicopter blades rapidly growing louder. Our eyes turn to the sky, and soon enough a jet black helicopter soars into view, flying as slow as it can without touching the treetops below. It slows and comes to a halt above the clearing. I step back to give it room, but there's no need, as a rope ladder soon falls down from the side of the vehicle. Nervously, I look up at the helicopter, measuring the distance in my head. Physical activity already? This job really is going to be dangerous.
Over half a minute late.
Clearly used to this, Scorpion strides over the ladder and looks back at us expectantly.
Well, we're already half a minute behind schedule, Stanley. Let's not make it worse.
Right, sorry. Just stretching.
But you're standing still.
Emotions need stretching too, alright, Kate?
Reluctantly, I walk up to the ladder, take a breath, and begin to climb. Fortunately, aside from one moment near the top where I accidentally looked down, it actually wasn't that bad. Soon enough, I'm seated inside the helicopter with a dozen other henchmen and nearly as many uniforms. Kate soon follows, and Madame Scorpion literally leaps up from the ladder afterwards. It's nothing next to going on one-on-one with Miss Dynamo. The move was so effortless, it made me wonder about Scorpion's powers. She clearly has some, but do they go beyond her obvious physical abilities? If she was really the top assassin in a world filled with supervillains, surely there's more to it than that, right? Maybe this job is where we'll all find out. Though if it is, that probably means we're in serious danger. She plays things so close to the vest, I can't imagine her revealing her full arsenal unless she has to. So on second thought, maybe some mysteries aren't meant to be solved.
All accounted for. Pilot, Take us to the next rendezvous point.
Kate and I hurry to strap in as the pilot complies with Mad Scorpion's order. For her part, the supervillain merely grabs a handhold, plants her feet, unperturbed by the swaying of the helicopter. As we ride towards our destination, the sun starts to slip below the horizon and the city fades into view. Not long after that, our helicopter sets down in a small field near city limits and we pile into a van. Was wondering when we'd make a switch like that. Something like a helicopter is bound to attract attention, as we found out on Wednesday, and this job seems a lot more subtle than Lord Bedlam's usual fare. Ooh, Justice Burger. Let's go there. By the time we pile out of the van and into the abandoned parking lot, that's apparently our destination. The last shreds of dusk are gone, and the night is lit only by the moon and the city's bright neon lights.
And here we are. Now, I know this might be a foreign concept to some of you, but while we're exposed, let's try to keep a low profile, shall we? That means minimal chatter, understood?
She swiftly holds her gaze on me for a moment while she says the last part, and Kate, who's standing next to me, lightly elbows me in the side.
What?
I think you know.
Now then, all surveillance cameras along our designated route have been disabled, so don't stray from it. We go up the fire escape there, directly west along the rooftops, and enter the 4th building via roof access. Well, get moving.
The other henchmen scramble towards the fire escape like a frantic conga line of brightly colored candies. Kate and I start to follow at a less panicked pace. However, I see that Madame Scorpion has started walking in another direction entirely. Perceptive as always, she doesn't fail to notice my stare and turns to face me, eyebrow raised with imperious indignation.
Yes, Stanley? Do you have a question?
You said you turned off the cameras. How did you do that exactly?
An insightful query.
None ya.
Perhaps too insightful for your own good, darling. Do you really think someone of my stature wouldn't know how to deal with a few cameras?
I guess not, but...
I trail off, not daring to finish that thought. Pointing out that she didn't answer my question is more likely to earn her ire than an answer. Luckily, Kate takes my hesitation as an opportunity to step in.
We're just impressed. That's all, ma'am. You're in a tight ship.
Scorpion doesn't look the least bit flattered. She turns her critical eye on the shorter woman, looking her up and down.
I do indeed. And that means you'd better stop stalling and get up that fire escape. Don't you agree?
Right away, ma'am. Come on, let's get to climbing.
Kate gives me a light rap on the shoulder and a reassuring smile, and I mouth a thank you in return. Not everyone would risk Scorpion's wrath to help me out like that. Even though we pace ourselves, the climb up the fire escape is long, and I find myself a little winded by the time we reach the top. Damn, we're not even to the hard part, and there's already been so much work. Luckily, the henchmen ahead of us didn't do as good a job at pacing themselves, so catching up is easy. Not that Kate would have trouble going a little faster. She barely seems warmed up after that.
Hey, slow down. We're not in a rush.
What's the matter? Winded already? All we've done is climb some stairs. Come on, man.
No. Well, that too, but that's not the point. Once we catch up, get past the guys in the back, but don't get too close to the front, alright? Trust me.
Why? Is that your plan to get out of doing the hard work? Or are you still worried about the cameras?
Nah, not that. I believe Scorpion when she says they're off. That was genuine curiosity. For an isolated operation, cutting the cameras doesn't sound too crazy. But does she do this for every gig on the app? I know it's the digital age and all that, but it still doesn't seem like something that a person should be able to just do with the snap of their fingers.
No, you're right. Well, I have my theories. I'm kind of surprised you latched onto that detail.
I'll try to take that as a compliment. But all that aside, just trust me on this. The front and the rear are always the worst places to be on any team larger than a dozen. The guys in the rear have it the worst because that's where the superheroes usually show up. And the guys up front deal with the in-house security. But the guys in the middle, they usually make it. Well, unless it's just a big mess and everyone has to scatter. But I doubt that'll happen with Scorpion overseeing this in person.
Oh, yeah, that's good thinking. I never really thought of it like that.
As we catch up to the others, we casually slip past the guys taking up the rear and meld with the middle of the pack. I glance down at Kate and offer a thumbs up, which she returns along with an uneasy smile. Our patchwork team of mercenary henchmen is quite the odd sight, a mob of multicolored goons hopping along the rooftops. But with the cameras gone and the adjacent buildings either too short or abandoned, there's no one to appreciate the show. No one in the gaggle of henchmen seems to be particularly enthusiastic about it either. None of us know each other. Hell, I don't even recognize most of these uniforms, and everyone took Scorpion's line about minimizing the chatter to heart. It's a weird vibe. We're technically a team, but not really. Eventually we reach the target rooftop. The guys in front are both wearing green and gold uniforms, and they're either young or cocky because they walk right up to the roof access window and pull it open. I let out a sigh of relief. So far, so good. Still, as our point men start down the stairwell, Kate and I make sure to maintain a safe distance. Something's waiting for us down there. I just have that feeling. The stairwell from the roof is short, only meant to connect it to the top level, so it's not long before our little band of misfit henchmen enters the facility proper. Someone lets out a low whistle as our green-clad point men open the door, and while he was quickly shushed, I have to agree with the sentiment. What awaits us is impressive. I'm not all that tech-savvy, but my best guess is that it's some kind of server room. Rows and rows of uniform machines hung quietly in the darkness, glowing from the light of their blinking LEDs.
A server farm. Makes sense. You guys were on a data heist for your last operation too, right?
Yeah, we were. You figure that's what we're after here, too?
It would fit. Scorpion doesn't do things randomly.
I nod in agreement. Before we can discuss anything further, our vanguard is waving for us to move, and the whole group starts creeping slowly forward. The rows make it a tight squeeze for even two people to stand shoulder to shoulder. It's like a futuristic library in here. I glance at Kate and find her looking back at me, jaw set. I nod, equally tense. This would be a bad spot to run into that trouble I'm expecting, which of course means...
Guys, flashlight, 10 o'clock. Guys!
I turn my head and immediately see it, fading and growing brighter as it passes between the aisles. Unfortunately, the green and gold duo in front doesn't. Not until they step out into the next aisle and right into its path. Immediately, the guard lets out a shout while the green henchmen reach for their weapons. The guard is faster on the draw. A sharp electric crackle cuts through the air, and a heartbeat later, both of the henchmen fall to the floor, twitching violently as sparks run across their uniforms. Already, the other henchmen are scrambling every which way, any sense of discipline shattering almost immediately. This is about to go sideways real fast. Kate rushes to grab at the nearest of our would-be teammates, trying to keep them from scattering.
Hey, get back here! We need to stay organized!
It causes some of them to hesitate, but not for long. If I help, maybe we can convince everyone to stick together and find a way out of this. On the other hand, if we just let them run around like a bunch of idiots, they can make for a nice distraction. That's why we didn't take the lead after all. Whatever I do, though, I need to decide quickly. I'm gonna use them as a distraction. Fuck them. I reach out and lightly grab Kate's shoulder. Distracted, she loses her own grip on the henchman she was trying to wrangle.
It's too late. They've lost it. This is why we stayed in the middle of the group, remember?
But if they don't get it together, this whole thing is done for.
No, they're done for. This whole thing keeps going with or without them. You think Scorpion's gonna bat an eye when she sees that half these guys are missing?
No, she definitely won't.
Exactly. So we might as well take advantage of the distraction to make sure that we're in the half that makes it.
All right, fine. I guess we're playing this cutthroat style. So we have our distraction. What do you want to do with it?
We need to go on the offensive. If we pick our spots, we can tip the scales in our favor without too much risk.
So you want to swoop in and steal all the glory, basically.
I'd hardly call it glory, but hey, we get paid based on how well we perform, right? So if we end the fight and look good in the process, that's a win-win in my book.
You sure you're new at this app? You seem to have already figured out how to crush the competition.
Nah, I'm just lazy. I find the easiest path to success, and I take it. Which in this situation should be right over...
Kate points to a pair of guards who just enter the room and are running towards the fray.
Those two. They've got tunnel vision, and cutting the enemy off from reinforcements is critical in the situation.
I raise an eyebrow. She sure switched to tactical mode on a dime. Seems like a character for Kate, but then how well do I know her?
Okay, you got it, General Patton. I'll cut them off and you flank them. Sound good?
Sounds good.
With a final nod of confirmation, I pull out my baton and move to intercept the unsuspecting guards before they can join the fight. Baton in hand, I jog forward through the endless rows of servers, lights whizzing through the corner of my vision in a blur, though I make sure to conserve my energy. And it's a good thing I do, because as I round the corner, I come face to face with a pair of guards. Luckily, the chaos from the other henchmen running around like headless chickens distracts the farther of the pair, and he leaves to try and chase them down. As he runs out of view, I see a short purple blur chase after him. Damn, Kate can really move. A similar scene plays out with the other guards in the distance. It's like one of those cartoon chase scenes where people keep running in and out of doors in a single hallway, but with way more people and way less dignity. That just leaves me with one guard to deal with. Okay, I can handle one. I was able to hang with Shiny Nova for at least like 3 whole seconds. This will be a cakewalk.
All right. You can either walk away or
charged at me like a maniac, apparently. I managed to give him a good whack on the shoulder as he rushes me, but his other hand still manages to reach out and grab a fistful of my uniform. Before I can react, we're both colliding with a rack of servers and he's clawing at my face.
What the hell, dude? We both look so stupid.
I punctuate each word with a swing of my baton, smacking the guard on the back. Jesus, what kind of security firm did this place hire? The bludgeoning loosens his grip and I manage to push him off of me. Quickly, I step back to gain some distance.
Okay, you asked for it.
I raise my baton and prepare to charge, but pause when I see movement out of the corner of my eye. Is someone hopping on top of the server racks like a ninja? No, not just someone, it's Kate. In 2 strides, she leaps onto the adjacent row of servers, and with a third, she sends the sole of her foot careening towards the guard's chest with a flying kick. The wind is immediately knocked out of my assailant, and he somersaults backwards until he literally bounces off of another server. By then, Kate is landed, and it is there to not only catch him before he collides with the floor, but immediately turn that into an armbar.
I was teeing that one up for you.
I could tell.
With some effort, Kate pulls a zip tie out from her belt and secures the guard's wrist to one of the server racks. Her foe subdued. She twirls out of the armbar, swipes the man's taser, and fires it just past my shoulder. I whirl around to see a second guard already falling to the ground, convulsing from his co-worker's own weapon.
That one was all me, though.
I turn back to offer a snide remark, only to find a third guard running towards Kate from behind. Lacking any kind of projectile, I run forward and dive into a baseball slide, swinging my baton at the man's shin. It connects and he trips forward, yelping in pain. Meanwhile, I scramble backwards to my feet, fumbling with my baton. Where the hell was that shock switch? Oh, there it is. A jolt of electricity surges from the end of the baton, and a moment later the guard lies unconscious.
And that was all me, so we're totally even. As long as we're not counting style points.
Oh, we definitely are. Now come on, let's wrap this up.
Thanks to distraction provided by the other henchmen and Kate's secret ninja skills, that doesn't take long. There aren't many of our merry band left afterwards, but we're in the clear. I feel my phone buzz. Pulling it out from my belt reveals it's a notification from the Henchman app, and judging by the reaction of those around me, we all got it.
North stairwell, down 3 floors.
I look at Kate and she shrugs. Better do what it says. Finding the way down doesn't take long, but we double and triple check our corners before entering. Getting caught in a cramped stairwell would be bad news, considering our losses already. Our caution slows our pace to a crawl, but fortunately it's an uneventful descent. Soon enough, we open the stairwell door to find...
More servers. Is this whole building filled with them?
Don't doubt it. Classic Madam Scorpion target. But what's this place doing in the middle of the city? The only places with this much sensitive data that I know of are intentionally isolated.
Wait, you've been to one of these places before?
Before Kate can answer, metal clanging sound echoes across the room. We turn to find a severed metal limb rolled to a stop a dozen meters away.
Don't be frightened. It can't hurt you.
With swagger that your garden variety egomaniac could only dream of, Scorpion saunters into view, holding her energy sword in one hand and what appears to be a decapitated robot head in the other. A black duffel bag is slung over her shoulder, though she moves like it weighs nothing at all. With a wicked grin, she holds the sparking robotic skull up to eye level, like she's in a cyberpunk rendition of Hamlet. Ooh, I may have to draw that.
Isn't that right, my friend? Yes. You and all your ilk aren't a threat to anyone right now, are you?
Out of a sense of morbid curiosity, I dare to peek around the corner. Even braced for a scene of carnage, the sight is disturbing. A pile of mangled robot parts flows across several of the aisles. Twisted metal limbs and weapon barrels protrude from the heap, and oil pools like blood across the tiles. Scorpion's done more than destroy them, she's diced them to bits.
But we can't just have them lying around like that, can we? It's unsightly. So, Stanley, darling, you're coming with me, but the rest of you?
She tosses the duffel bag to the ground.
Your next task is in there.
The other henchmen just stare at the bag nervously, all but Kate anyway, who's looking at me.
Hey, be careful.
You too.
Kate smiles and wraps her knuckles against my shoulder. With that, my peer steps forward, offering Scorpion a salute before kneeling back and opening the bag, revealing cleaning supplies? I guess she wants to literally scrub the place of evidence. Glad I'm getting out of that. With an apologetic shrug, I rush to catch up with the supervillain's long, graceful strides.
Thanks for choosing me, ma'am. Or, whatever this is. I appreciate it.
Don't bother. Your ability to shirk any duties related to manual labor simply makes you more useful to me here. Nothing more.
Yes,
and I'm curious to know how the operation has gone for you so far.
Oh, you know how these things are. Pretty routine. If you've broken into one data center, you've broken into 100.
Don't play coy, Stanley. The question was largely rhetorical. I know exactly how everything happened. First, you elected to stay in the middle of the group with your partner. A prudent measure, and one that quickly paid dividends as things, how to put it gently, broke down. Yet you took advantage of that confusion quite well, I must say. Any fools who lose their composure so easily are good for little else beyond a distraction in combat. Oh, and human shields, of course. But I doubt you'd have the strength to carry them around with much grace.
No, ma'am, I only have noodle arms.
That's not what you're bringing me along for, is it?
Oh, Stanley, what an absurd question. I'd never tell you that. Deception is the key to everything, including and especially martial conflict, which is why your little counterattack went so well.
Yeah, hitting them while they were distracted definitely made it easier. And Kate was a big help, too. Where'd you guys find her? She pulled out some MMA cage fighter type shit out of nowhere.
So she did. I'll be sure to look up her profile.
As we talk, we move deeper into the room, passing row upon row of servers. A few beats of silence pass before a thought occurs to me.
How did you know what was going on up there anyway? Were you watching?
In a manner of speaking, yes. I would think that was obvious.
But not in person, right? You couldn't have. Did it have something to do with the cameras?
Persistent about that, aren't you? Very well. I'll give you a hint. But only because I like you. Yes, it has something to do with the cameras. But not in the way you think.
Is it from the phones?
In what other way, then?
Stanley. One hint is all you get.
I'm guessing it's coming from within the app.
Understood, ma'am.
We continue to walk in silence for a few moments until I find my gaze lingering on the severed robot head that Scorpion is carrying.
Can I ask a totally different question, though?
You may. So long as you are prepared for the answer.
Sure. Look, it seems pretty clear that you didn't need any help with this job. So why bring us along at all?
Need? No, of course not. I don't need anyone. People are more of a luxury good. They can make things go faster, more smoothly.
Like with the cleanup.
Yes, exactly. And those that didn't make it past the upper floor played their part as well. Drawing guards, creating a mess that's just waiting to be found. Whoever finds that will surely assume that my target was on that floor. And why not? The company who stores their data there is a weapons manufacturer, after all. The perfect red herring, don't you think?
But what you're after is here instead?
Precisely. And when our friends have cleaned up the mess, no one will suspect I was here, among terabytes of private data scraped from the far corners of the internet. So while some hero or agency spends weeks chasing down a fake lead, any trace of the true theft will have disappeared.
She turns to me with a devious grin and winks. I cough into my hand and avert my eyes, wilting under her gaze. In response, she lets out a haughty laugh, which only serves to make me feel even more awkward.
Such a professional.
By now, we've passed the last row of servers and reached the very edge of the room. A thick metal security door stands before us, controlled by a nearby keypad.
Hold this for me, darling.
Without bothering for confirmation, Scorpion shoves the hilt of her beam saber into my hands. Though I fumble it for a second, I quickly gain control and immediately lock it into a two-handed death grip. Meanwhile, the supervillain puts her free hand on the keypad and closes her eyes. Out of the corner of my eye, I see her grip tighten on the robot head, causing the metal to squeal in protest. Soon enough, the keypad turns green, and I hear the sound of the door's lock disengaging. How did she do that? I think back to my question about how she saw what happened on the top floor. There's definitely connection there, but what is it? Or is this yet another juicy red herring? I wouldn't put it past her. Screwing with people seems to be her favorite pastime, and I'm clearly in her crosshairs. In fact, when her eyes open and turn in my direction, that's exactly what they look like. Crosshairs.
Now, Stanley.
She removes her hand from the security panel and slowly reaches towards me, smiling in a way that is equal parts alluring and foreboding. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but find it unnerving. With a self-satisfied hum, she plucks the hilt of her weapon from my hands.
Would you kindly step through that door?
I don't trust anyone who's gonna ask me, would you kindly?
Oof, that's a real doozy of an assignment. But sure thing, I'll do my best to gut it out.
There's probably a catch, for there's no way it's worse than cleaning up robot giblets. At least, so without hesitation, I reach for the door handle and pull it open. Though I can hear the humming of machinery and make out the stray blinking light, for the most part the room is pitch black. Luckily I have a flashlight in my belt.
Now let's see.
I step forward into the room, even as I start rummaging through my equipment. The third pouch, I found it.
There we go.
With a click, the flashlight turns on, just in time to illuminate the giant robot activating right in front of me. Holy shit, nice. Glowing red eyes and a host of other threatening-looking lights suddenly come to life as a giant metal death machine rises to its feet, all four of them. 4 feet? Why did it need 4 feet? Why does it need to be like 3 meters tall? And why does it need all those guns? Oh right, the guns!
Shit!
I scramble to the side, desperately searching for cover. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see the robot's weapons tracking me. I'm not going to move fast enough, but someone else does.
Thank you, Stanley.
In a blur of black and red, Madame Scorpion shrieks into view before the deadly machine can open fire, and while it quickly turns to face this clearly more imminent threat, but then it's far too late. Scorpion's blade moves so fast it looks like a continuous streak of light, painting a crisscrossing pattern of crimson across the machine's hulking form until it is practically covered in glowing crosshatches. As the pattern fades, the quadrupedal titan groans, and then all at once collapses into a heap of minced plating and shattered circuitry. There isn't a limb or weapon barrel left intact. As the robot's bolts and shredded bits of armored plating roll across the floor, Madame Scorpion steps out from the darkness, tinkering with the knob on her weapon's hilt.
The frequency was off a little. Those cuts should have been much cleaner.
With a flourish, she deactivates the energy blade and returns the hilt to her hip. Only didn't she acknowledge me with a smile that seems even more dangerous than usual now that it's obscured in shadow.
But you were an excellent distraction, Stanley.
Thanks.
Thanks? But why did you even need one?
They kept this unit from connecting with the main network to mask its presence. Not the first time I've seen that trick, so I wanted to be sure that I wasn't walking into anything.
So they had a super secret robot just sitting in here, specifically to guard this room. What exactly is hidden in this data that you're after?
Hidden? Why, nothing at all. Just mundane details gathered from insignificant individuals.
Seriously? All this for some mundane details?
Individually mundane, but together, as precious as gold. You'll understand soon enough. But for now...
The sound of approaching footsteps interrupts Scorpion's order, and by the time I turn to finally saw her, Kate is standing in the doorway, breathing hard.
Ma'am, we heard a commotion from over here. Do you need any assistance?
For a second, it looks like she's about to ask a follow-up question, but that fades as soon as her head turns in my direction. Well, at least someone here is concerned about my well-being.
Not urgently, so no. Is the cleanup complete?
Just about. The others should have it wrapped up momentarily. It was a struggle with the few hands we have remaining, but we got it done.
Very well. Then help Stanley with this last one. Don't leave a trace behind.
Yes, ma'am.
As Kate reaches over to help, Scorpion walks deeper into the room, starting to disappear into the darkness. After a few steps, she gives pause and leers at me over her shoulder, her face half covered in shadow.
That was unexpectedly naive, Stanley. Don't disappoint me again.
I'll try not to. I swallow the lump as far into my throat and nod. At that, Scorpion takes her leave, slipping into the darkness with silent steps. By now, Kate's reached my side along with Scorpion's duffel bag of cleaning supplies.
You alright? What happened?
Yeah, I'm fine. God used his bait, but as you can see...
I gesture at the pile of scrap that used to be an 8-foot-tall death machine. Kate nods in understanding and offers me a pat on the back.
Well, I'm glad it's lying there and not you.
As she gets closer, I can finally make out the details of her face through the darkness. There's blood on her lip and a small tear in her mask.
Wait, are you bleeding? What happened?
Oh, that. Yeah, we ran into a straggler. I think its pathing got messed up on the way here, so it was slow to respond to our employer's little mess. I took care of it, though. No big deal.
Really? After what I saw, anything that could take you on must be at least a little bit of a big deal.
Oh, come on. Taking out some underpaid night shift muscle isn't much of a feat. I know a few moves, that's it. But seriously, I just got a little careless. I'll answer when I get back. Now, come on, let's get this sucker in the dustbin.
A few minutes later, I'm hurling through the air, clinging to a zipline for dear life. Why a zipline? I asked the same thing. Scorpion said it was yet another red herring, but I think she just wanted to see if I'd scream. Well, too bad for her. I managed to avoid any and all squeals, yelps, or shrieks as I careened towards the parking lot, although my landing is hardly dignified. The momentum from the zipline carries me forward after I touch down, and I flail wildly before gracefully falling to the asphalt.
What was wrong with the fire escape?
I turn to find the supervillain standing over me, having stuck her own landing without flinching. Not surprising. She probably could have jumped out the window and landed unscathed, honestly.
Nothing at all. It's just another sign that we were focused on the top floor. Misdirection, Stanley. Remember?
Right.
I start to scrape myself up from the ground. But when I reach my knees, I find a purple glove held out in my direction.
And here I thought you had the agility of a panther.
2 panthers. They're heavy animals, okay?
Sure. Clearly, that zipline required a rating of 3 panthers or higher.
Towards aside, I'm grateful for the help and happily take Kate's extended hand. Once I'm back on my feet, I dust myself off and start heading for the van. One by one, Scorpion and the remaining henchmen pile into the back of the vehicle. It's a lot less crowded this time, and some take advantage of the empty seats by stretching out. Scorpion uses one as a pedestal for the severed robot head she acquired earlier, possibly because she still needs it for something, but more probably because she's a bloodthirsty sadist. Just before we close the doors, a shout echoes from across the parking lot. It's one of the green-clad henchmen who had taken a point. Apparently the taser wore off.
Holy shit, I think he can actually make it.
He could have 30 seconds ago, but not now. And you should be glad that's the case. That's one less person who gets a share of the completion fee. I'd suggest closing the door, Stanley.
I look out towards the stranded henchman, desperately waving on us as he drunkenly stumbles closer. I imagine I looked just like that when I was fleeing Miss Dynamo on Wednesday, but this is a Scorpion show, plus she's right about the money. Well, I'm trying to impress her, so we're closing the door. I offer Kate an apologetic wince and then reach for the door handle. It slams closed easily, but it's a double door that leaves it half open, with the matching door on Kate's side of the van. She's not budging, so I scramble over.
Wait, look, he's close.
I look out the remaining door, and Kate's right. He's not far. We'd only have to wait another 20 seconds or so. But the all too familiar sound of a human-shaped meteor falling to the earth puts an end to my hesitation, and I slam the door shut.
Thank you, Stanley. Driver, let's be off.
The van roars to life, screeching out of the parking lot as fast as it can. I can hear the green henchman yelling at us in the distance. Soon enough, it's accompanied by the sound of the aforementioned meteor finally crashing to the earth.
Scorpion! Come out! You can't hide from me forever.
You know, I never had to deal with a pissed-off Miss Dynamo until I met you, ma'am. I mean, she still had zero problem kicking my ass, but she was a lot friendlier about it.
A civil relationship with one's mortal enemies has little value, in my opinion. I prefer her this way. She makes mistakes when she's angry. And when I at last put an end to our little game, I want it to be raw. That moment when she realizes she's been raging and roaring against the inevitable, that will be something I can truly relish.
Put an end to your game? Do you mean...
Scorpion Head tilts curiously as her eyes snap to Kate. That alone causes Kate to trail off. The Scorpion herself doesn't reply for several moments, letting the silence hang as she examines my fellow henchman.
Kill her? Why does it matter? It's no concern of yours.
Scorpion leans a little closer, examining Kate's expression. I get secondhand nerves just from watching. I know from experience how it feels to have Scorpion stare into your soul like that. I'm wondering if she is friends with Miss Dynamo. Like, maybe she's her sidekick, maybe she's another hero. And that's why she's so concerned. I mean, maybe she just doesn't like murder in general, but I don't know.
You're too soft for this.
No, ma'am. I was just...
That wasn't a question. You are. Look at Stanley.
Scorpion gestures towards me so grandly that I feel self-conscious about my appearance.
He understands what this is. But you haven't grasped it, have you? And here I thought you'd been part of our program for longer than him.
Sorry, ma'am.
Don't apologize. You'll learn eventually, one way or another.
The supervillain holds her gaze on Kate for a moment longer before finally pulling away. As she returns to her own seat, she turns to me, placing one hand delicately on my shoulder.
This is but the first step down a new path for you, Stanley. Keep walking it with me, and we will find riches at the end of it.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Got it.
She squeezes my shoulder just a bit too hard and smiles just a bit too wolfishly before returning to her own seat. I try to hide my nervous exhale as I lean back into my seat. Just the first step, huh? And why do I feel so exhausted by it? I close my eyes and try to let the rattling of the van rock me to sleep. It doesn't work. Some of the other henchmen try to start up some awkward small talk, but that doesn't work either. In the end, all we're left with is an uneasy silence, even as we pass the city limits. The silence carries on all the way until our pickup point, and even as we drop the remaining henchmen back at their own rendezvous locations. Before I know it, it's just Madame Scorpion, Kate, and I, all alone as we ride the helicopter back to Lord Bedlam's lair. I'm not sure anyone even offered a goodbye, not that this was a tightly knit group or anything. Even during our brief flashes of cooperation, we weren't really a team. That was the point. We were only united in that we all wanted an extra paycheck. You might say it was more honest that way. There were no self-indulgent speeches about how we're all brothers and sisters, no empty platitudes from supervisor who calls me buddy, but won't even recommend me for a cost of living raise. If you're good enough to get the job done and make it out, you're paid well. If not, you're left in the dust. Scorpion is right, I can make a killing like this. I'm good enough to. Well, until I'm the one left in the dust. How long could I stave that off, I wonder? I watched Kate wipe the blood from her lip with her knuckle. Even just one of these gigs takes a toll on people like her and I, so I just have to play it smart. And if I did, look at Madame Scorpion, who spent most of the ride casually examining the robot skull she pilfered, her thoughts a mystery. She looks like she's just very much in a bloodlust mood, and she's just staring at her trophy. I wonder if she makes a habit of carrying trophies like that, or if there's just something special about that robot head in particular. I could never have what she has, no matter what I do. I know that. And yet, she has me wondering, how close could I get? I'll never have her powers, but if I play this Henchman thing right, maybe, just maybe. No, one foot in front of the other, man. You've got some extra money in your pocket and curry a little favor with the new boss. It's good enough for now. Or it will be as soon as I can collapse into my bed. Thank you all for checking out the video, for checking out the series. If you have been enjoying watching me play, if you're enjoying the game, what have you, it'd be really swell if you could hit those like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment if you're feeling generous, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.